My own sister stood at the altar in her white gown, pointed a shaking finger at me, and told 400 guests I'd been sleeping with her future husband. My husband immediately walked to her side. He backed up every word. They even put up fake text messages on the big screen. The crowd turned on me in seconds. I held my 3-year-old daughter tighter, looked at my sister's fiancé, and smiled. Then I pressed play on my phone. Her face didn't just fall, it disintegrated. Before I walk you through that night frame by frame, do me a favor, hit like and subscribe to Winds of Thought. Drop your country in the comments. I want to see how far this story travels. Now let me rewind to the beginning. The truth doesn't scream. It waits for silence. The wedding venue looked like something from a magazine. Soft amber lights hung from the ceiling. A string quartet played something romantic. Waiters passed champagne. Everyone smiled, everyone hugged. From the outside it was perfect. I was standing near the dessert table with my daughter, Mia, asleep on my shoulder. Her little fingers had a death grip on my necklace. I kissed her forehead and tried to feel happy. But I couldn't. Something was off. Have you ever had that feeling, when your gut knows the truth before your brain accepts it? My husband, Daniel, stood across the room talking to my uncle. He looked handsome, confident, the kind of man anyone would trust. And for years I did trust him. Our marriage started like a fairy tale. We met in college. He proposed in Paris. We had Mia and everything felt solid. But over the past few weeks, tiny cracks had appeared. He started coming home late, not every night, just often enough to make me notice. He'd sit on the edge of the bed, scrolling his phone, and when I asked about his day, he'd say work, without looking up. I told myself I was being paranoid. Love makes you lie to yourself, doesn't it, Mommy? Mia whispered. I'm tired. Just a little longer, sweetheart, I said. She nodded against my chest and I held her like a shield. I looked around the room again. My parents were laughing with old friends. My father, proud as always, kept patting people on the back. My mother kept fixing her hair in her phone camera. Everyone looked peaceful. But my eyes kept drifting to the stage where my sister, Claire, sat in her wedding dress. She was stunning. The dress cost more than my first car. But her smile didn't reach her eyes. She kept glancing at me. Then looking away. Then glancing again. At first I thought she was nervous. Every bride gets cold feet, right? But this wasn't nervousness. This was waiting, like she was counting down to something. The music swelled. The MC grabbed the microphone, and now, the couple would like to share a few words with all of you. Applause thundered. Phones rose into the air. Everyone expected something sweet, something tear-jerking. Claire stood up slowly. She adjusted her veil. She took the mic. And then, instead of looking at her groom or the crowd, she locked eyes with me. My heart stopped. Before we cut the cake, she said softly, I think everyone here deserves to know the truth. Murmurs rippled through the room. A few people laughed nervously, thinking it was a joke. I didn't laugh. I looked at Daniel. His face had gone completely still, no surprise. Just focus. What truth? Someone called out. Claire ignored them. She kept staring at me. Then she said 5 words that made the floor disappear beneath my feet. My own sister betrayed me. Silence. 400 people went silent at once. She had an affair, Claire continued, her voice cracking on purpose. I see that now. With my fiancé, Mark. Gasps. Heads turning. Eyes landing on me like bullets. That's not true, I said. My voice came out smaller than I wanted. Claire, what are you talking about? My father stood up. His chair scraped the floor loudly. This is insane, he said. She has a husband, a child. Why would she do this? My mother put her hand over her mouth. Claire, stop this. You're mistaken. But Claire didn't stop. She turned to Mark. His face was a mask of shock. But when I looked closer, I realized something. His shock wasn't real. He was performing. Mark's parents stood up too. This is a serious accusation, his father said. You can't just throw this out at the wedding. Claire took a deep breath. I knew nobody would believe me, she said. She pulled a remote from her bouquet. That's why I brought proof. She clicked. The large screen behind the stage lit up. A photo appeared. Me and Mark standing close talking. From that angle it looked intimate. It looked wrong. No, I said. That was at a family barbecue. You were there? Another photo. Then another. Each one carefully cropped, each one designed to deceive. Then came the messages. Screenshots of texts between me and Mark. I can't stop thinking about you. After the wedding we'll finally have time alone. I never wrote those, I said. Louder now. Those are fake. But the crowd had already decided. How could she? Her own sister's man, disgusting. My mother sat down slowly. My father stared at the floor. Even he didn't know what to believe anymore. Then Claire turned to Daniel, and the room held its breath. He stepped forward. Calm. Deliberate. My heart pounded so hard I could hear it in my ears. She's telling the truth, Daniel said. I've suspected something for weeks. I just didn't want to believe it. My vision blurred. You're lying, I whispered. How can you say this? He wouldn't look at me. After seeing all this, he gestured to the screen. I can't deny it anymore. Something inside me cracked. But not the way they expected. Have you ever been so betrayed that the pain turned into clarity? I looked at Daniel. At least you, I said, my voice steady now. At least you should have trusted me. He said nothing. That silence told me everything. Now the dam broke completely. People stepped away from me like I was contagious. Shameful. How does she show her face? Her poor husband, Mark, tried to speak. This isn't true. I would never. But his father cut him off. You've ruined our family name. His mother turned her back on him. Mia started crying. I held her tight, rocked her gently, and stood there completely alone in a room full of people. Then Daniel delivered the final blow. I'm divorcing you, he said. Final. Like he'd rehearsed it. Everyone expected me to collapse. To beg, to cry, for 1 second, but then I smiled. The entire room froze. Daniel frowned. Claire's confident expression flickered. They didn't understand. This wasn't part of their script. I looked around at all those judgmental faces. Then I said softly, before you file those papers you should all watch something else. I turned to Mark. His fake shock melted away. He smiled back at me, a real smile. The crowd gasped again, but this time they didn't know why. What is this? Claire's voice cracked. Not on purpose this time. What's happening? Daniel looked between us, genuinely confused for the first time. I adjusted Mia on my hip. Since everyone's so interested in the truth, I said quietly, let's not stop halfway. I nodded at Mark. Go ahead. He walked to the screen. Claire grabbed his arm. Don't touch that. But he shook her off. The screen changed. The fake photos disappeared. And then a video began to play. A hotel lounge. Dim lighting. 2 people sitting close, leaning in, holding hands across the table. My husband and my sister. The room erupted. What is that? Oh my God. No. But the video kept playing. They were laughing, touching, kissing. It wasn't ambiguous. It wasn't a misunderstanding. It was proof. Claire stumbled backward. That's not what it looks like. But nobody listened to her anymore. Then the video ended, and an audio recording began. Daniel's voice, clear as glass. At the wedding, we blame them both. We make them look guilty. Claire's voice followed. Everyone will believe us. We'll walk away clean. The recording continued. I already faked the messages, Claire said. The photos too. Once the crowd turns on them, nobody will question us. Then we can finally be together without anyone stopping us. My mother burst into tears. My father's face turned red with rage. Mark's parents stood frozen, mouths open. Claire shook her head violently. This is fake. It's edited. It's not, I said. I saw you together. At the Grand Plaza Hotel. 3 weeks ago. I looked at Daniel. Then I checked your phone. His face went white. Everything was there. The lies, all of it. Mark stepped forward. That's why we stayed quiet, he said. We knew nobody would believe us without proof, so we let them build their trap. And then we let them spring it on themselves. They built a cage for me. I just made sure they were inside it when the door closed. My father turned to Claire. His voice was low and terrible. You destroyed this family. For what? For him? He pointed at Daniel. Claire couldn't speak. She just shook her head over and over. Daniel finally found his voice. This isn't what it looks like. I looked at him. Then what does it look like, Daniel? He had no answer. There was nothing left to say. Mark's father stepped forward. This wedding is cancelled. We want nothing to do with your family. He and his wife walked out. Half the guests followed. I looked at my husband one last time. You said you wanted a divorce? I said calmly. You get one, just not the way you planned. His eyes widened. But I was already turning away. In the weeks that followed, my father removed Daniel from his executive position at the family company. Publicly. Immediately. My sister was cut off completely. No calls, no visits, no forgiveness from my parents. Not from me. Daniel lost his job, his reputation. And within 6 months, Claire had left him too. As for me, I didn't collapse, I didn't retreat. I walked away with my daughter in my arms and my head held high. Because sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is let the liars tell their story, and then show everyone yours. If this story hit home for you, hit that like button and subscribe to Winds of Thought. And comment one word the country you're watching from. I read every single one.